Hey there, this is Darren. Day 12. How do the best think? Do you ever wonder how people who are successful in whatever their field is, what do they think? What do they process? What do they look at? What's important to them? What do they not worry about that a lot of the other people, most people, worry about in that field, in that area? Well, back in the 90s, I was addicted to self-confidence tapes and achievement tapes, and this is, you might have heard the story, this is the Brian Tracy set that I was listening to. For our younger viewers, that's a cassette. A cassette. Say it with me. Cassette. Anyway, listening to them, listening to Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins, one of the key underlying messages I kept hearing over and over again is, what do people the best think? You know, in the comedy world, what do headliners think? How do they process things? Because the people who are the best in any field, whatever area that is, they think differently. So how do they think? What do they process? So when I was competing in the speech contest, I sought out people who had won it before. And it wasn't as simple as it is now. Back in the day, the internet was new. Not everyone had a website. You couldn't easily just find people. So I asked around and I kept looking for any of the world champions. So I studied 10 years of contest videos. And I was trying to, okay, how do I find these people? How could I ask them the questions? And some of them I couldn't track down, even though I studied their speeches. But two quotes kept me going. When every time I thought my speech was good enough, these two quotes, these voices were in my head. One of them was David Brooks. And what David Brooks said is, let no one out prepare you. Let no one out prepare you. So as soon as I thought I was done or good enough, all right, okay, this is the version. I had to keep preparing. I had to keep going deeper because David Brooks, 1990 world champion of public speaking, kept saying, you're not done. You've got to be more prepared than anyone else. What was cool to me, though, is he said I didn't have to be the best. He said I had to be the most prepared, which that summer in those 77 days meant my whole my personal life, everything else. I worked just enough to not get fired. In fact, I got called into the office a couple times because I was sitting at my desk at Bose Corporation selling the Bose Wave radio. I'd had my script to my speech right in front of me, and it was like, oh, the boss is coming. Ooh, not good. So I got called in the office a couple times for working on my speech at work, but that's a chance I took. The other quote that resonated with me, that just hit me between the eyes, bam. When I talked to Ed Tate, he told me of Otis Williams Jr.'s quote. I think, forgive me, but Otis Williams Jr., also world champion. I think he was 93, but don't quote me on that. But Otis Williams, he said, be so good, the only question is who comes in second. Think about that. Be so good, the only question is who comes in second. Especially in the area of like a speech contest, judging is subjective. It's not an like a literal, even though there's a score form on the judges form is scored in categories. It's still subjective what they think is in this category. It's not like a science. So, I mean, Toastmasters does a great job trying to get it as good as possible. The challenge is it's still public opinion and it's still your own personal perspective, even though you're going by the judges' form. So what he was saying was create such a gap that everybody in the room knows. If you want to create such a gap and stand out against some of the best in the world in whatever it is you do or you choose to pursue, that's a lot of work. The good thing was I was willing to do the work, but I needed the direction. So whatever you want to overcome, whatever you want to accomplish, like, be a sponge to those people who are at the top, whatever that is. Whatever mountain you want to climb, whatever challenge you have in your life, like, be that sponge. But let no one out prepare you and be so good, the only question is who comes in second. So that's the lesson I learned from experience from my journey. I did finish yesterday. I did finish applying all the quotes to my script, all the coaching from Michael Haig to my movie script. So now it's time. Now it's go time. I had a few more thoughts of who I can reach out to. So tomorrow I'll probably show you the count that I have where I'm at to keep myself accountable, to keep reaching out and getting rejected. But be so good. Be so good. The only question is who comes in second. And number 2, let no one out prepare you. So see you tomorrow about 8:17 a.m. and possibly, hey there, Scott Brown, possibly have some rejection reports coming when I start getting rejected. Yes. I'm trying to convince myself to love that, because that's what stopped me last time in my pursuit of my next big goal. So get out there, join the challenge. Every day, a Facebook Live from some lesson that you learned from your journey along the way. See ya.